Okay, today I'm going to be comparing the cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE and the OnePlus 8T. I am actually shooting from these phones right now, and I'm also switching between their audios to give you a rough idea about which one's better. Now, these are the best value flagships available right now, and these phones are quite competitive in almost all the aspects, be it on display or battery or software. Performance, well, has always been OnePlus's strong suits, as many regions ship with the Exynos variant of the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, making it a little inferior when it comes to sheer performance. While this is evidently true, the S20 FE compensates with additional features like wireless charging and IP68 rating, which only leaves us with one thing to actually compare these devices against each other: the cameras. And in this video, I am going to be putting these cameras to test. For this comparison, there are 12 categories in total, and I have allocated points to each category based on how important those lenses are. For instance, I have placed 4 points each for primary and ultra wide angle lens, while zoom capability and portraits carry 2 points each, and so on. Actually, this table right here can explain what I'm trying to establish here well, so do have a look at it. Anyways, let the battle begin. But first, a huge shout out to our sponsor, G2Deal. We know how most of us ignore the activate Windows part on our PCs because window keys are just so very expensive. But with G2Deal, you won't have to worry about that. This site offers CD key of Windows 10 at amazingly cheap prices, and all you have to do is go to this site, create your account, search for Windows 10 Pro, pay for it, and you have your activation key right there. After that, activating Windows is also really easy. You just need to copy and paste the activation code you just purchased in the Activate Windows portion of your system settings. Good news is that you can use this special promo code Q18 to further get 18% discount on the already cheap price. For further information, you can check the link given in the description. With that out of the way, let's kick things off by comparing the primary images of these two phones. Right off the bat, I like the slight pop in colors done by the S20 FE. It does not oversaturate the image and therefore makes it look pleasing to the eyes. On the other hand, the normal images from the OnePlus 8T also look good. What OnePlus does better most of the times, however, is the details. Zooming into the picture of this giant bell, you can see how it has managed to preserve the details better than the S20 FE. But if you look closely at this very image again, the S20 FE manages to maintain good colors even at such difficult areas. And not just there, in almost all the instances, the S20 FE's color optimization is superior. So although OnePlus 8T's images look good enough too, Samsung's flagship optimization takes the spotlight, making it take the first lead in this comparison. Now, ultra-wide-angle photos are evidently better on the S20 FE, whether it be in regard to the dynamic range or the field of view. Preservation of details is similar on both, but if you look at the shadowy areas on the OnePlus 8T, they look darker, while the S20 FE is able to process it better. Again, Samsung's optimization takes the cake here. So this round 2 goes to the S20 FE. Okay, moving on, the dedicated telephoto lens on the S20 FE is an obvious edge over the 8T in terms of their zoom capabilities. The FE maintains better details in difficult and tricky areas like in these flags. And if you look closely in the bushes of this image right here, you will notice how the S20 FE has done a much better job at preserving details and colors. Also, the telephoto lens on the S20 FE is optically stabilized, which is another big plus. With all this, it's an easy decision to declare the S20 FE as the winner of this round. Okay, now let me compare the portrait capabilities of these devices. One thing you have to know is that the 8T uses the 2x zoom for its main lens to capture portrait images, while the S20 FE simply uses the main lens without any kind of zoom. And I have to say that OnePlus's images have better looking depth and subject focus, although the S20 FE has fuller colors in its portraits. But even with slightly inferior colors, portraits from the OnePlus 8T look better overall with a slightly superior edge detection, which makes it the winner of this round. Now getting to the selfies, the S20 FE not only offers a higher resolution sensor, but does better than the OnePlus 8T in a lot of things. The most important being exposure and highlights management. Take the example of this picture right here, which clearly shows how the S20 FE can better handle sunlight in comparison to the 8T. Also, OnePlus has this unusual red tint in its images that make it look really weird. So it's the S20 FE once again to garner another point. Alright, in regards to portrait selfies, neither of them offer good edge detection, yet both do a decent job in preserving details and dynamic range. However, portrait selfies share the same story as regular selfies, with the OnePlus 8T having a prominent red tint, while the S20 FE has a subtle undertone. So as we established in the normal selfies too, S20 FEs look better, and same is the case once again. Okay, let me make this contest a little bit more exciting by judging the nighttime capabilities of these phones. What's distinguishable right away is that OnePlus brings out really on true colors. Also, it takes like 2 seconds more than the S20 FE to click a normal nighttime image, making it sort of a mini night mode here. Due to this, any moving object, like this dog here, seems blurry in OnePlus's image. S20 FE on the other hand handles colors and even movements like a champ. Even in the night mode, S20 FE balances the exposure well, while the OnePlus 8T tries to overprocess and hence loses some details. Also, because the S20 FE takes its time, like around 8 seconds to process the image, it is able to optimize the exposure and highlights better, while the 8T rushes through in 4 seconds and is not able to process things as well as the S20 FE, making the latter take the crown for having better nighttime capabilities. Now, I mostly don't take ultra-wide-angle images at night, but it's worthy of mentioning that both these phones can click ultra-wide-angle images both from their normal and night modes. And as you can see, these cameras struggle in maintaining details and hence bring out muddy images. In good lighting conditions, both perform slightly better though. Again, OnePlus 8T tries to oversaturate images, but even the subtle colors do not make the ultra-wide-angle images look better in the S20 FE. Likewise, in the night mode / nightscape feature from both, details and exposure are a little better, but then again, I did not find any of them to actually stand out, so I guess I'm not giving a point to any of them in this round. Talking about the video capabilities from these phones, they can go up to 4K 60 FPS and are equipped with gyro EIS instead of OIS. In terms of details and colors, both cameras fare equally well, and even stabilization is about the same. But things change a bit while you're shooting while running, because as you can see, the OnePlus 8T cannot handle quick, abrupt movements and thus messes with the exposure. This is where you can rely on the S20 FE to always give you consistent, stable results. With this, the S20 FE once again extends its lead. However, ultra-wide-angle videos are neck to neck on these devices. Both these phones are limited to 4K 30 FPS and are stabilized with good quality and colors as well. Although you will notice that the S20 FE's field of view is slightly wider, but the overall quality looks very similar. So I will offer equal points to both of these cameras. Now, moving on to the selfie videos, the OnePlus 8T has been a major disappointment. Not only it is limited to 1080p 30 FPS, but even at that resolution, it fails to manage exposure, as you can evidently see in this footage my friend took at Bauda. On the other hand, the S20 FE is capable of shooting good quality and stable videos even at 4K 60 FPS. Well, in this aspect, these phones are not even comparing, as the S20 FE is streets ahead. On a similar note, we cannot forget that both of these cameras are capable of shooting Slowmo and super Slowmo videos as well. S20 FE and OnePlus 8T are capable of shooting Slowmo footages at 120 FPS in full HD resolution. In this footage, it's evident that the S20 FE Slowmo has better quality than the one from the 8T. OnePlus's videos are slightly washed out and muddy, while S20 FE's look a bit better. Similarly, the OnePlus 8T can shoot super Slowmo videos at 480 FPS at HD resolution, whereas the S20 FE can go up to 960 FPS at HD resolution. From this sample footage, it is clear that the quality on both is just subpar and the video has come out sort of grainy. So it is only fair to not offer any points to both phones in the super Slowmo category, while the S20 FE wins the Slowmo video round. But again, let's not forget that the OnePlus 8T also has a macro camera, which is not anything extra, but for those who are into macro photography, this one can certainly come handy. So a point to the OnePlus 8T for this, making the final score as the S20 FE at 25 and the OnePlus 8T at 5. So that was all for this comparison, and as you can see, there's a huge difference in points, and the S20 FE is evidently the better choice when it comes to cameras. In my opinion, the reason why the OnePlus 8T lost so dreadfully is because of its negligence to provide a better camera sensor, as this one still uses the Sony IMX586. Had the company upgraded to the OnePlus 8T from the OnePlus 8 with a better camera sensor, or had the company used the Sony IMX689 just like on the OnePlus 8 Pro, this comparison would have turned out to be very different. Yes, OnePlus is gradually improving in its camera optimization over the years, but if you look at the direct competition like the S20 FE or even the Pixel 5, OnePlus still has a long way to go. Having said that, just the cameras do not make the OnePlus 8T a bad offering at all, as it is still the best performing phone in its price range. With Samsung shipping the S20 FE with Exynos 990 in almost all the regions, the OnePlus 8T actually does not have any competition when it comes to sheer performance. With that note, that is all for this video. I am still using the OnePlus 8T as my primary phone, and I will be dropping its review very soon, so stay tuned for that. Till then, I'm Pratima signing off, and I'll see you in the next one.